concepts of pH and pOH. pH is a very important concept to understand, not only for chemistry, but also for other sciences like biology and biochemistry, as you find it in those kinds of reactions too. Like temperature, pH is a measure of homeostasis. You can see this with the example of blood, as you want your blood to stay within a certain range of pH values, because if it doesn't, you could get into some complications. pH measures the hydrogen ion concentration of a compound to indicate its acidity. So the more hydrogen ions you have, the lower the pH will be, and therefore the stronger the acid. And now the concept of pOH is not as common as pH, but it works the same way. But rather than measuring the amount of hydrogen ion concentrations, it will measure the amount of hydroxide ions, so OH minus. So instead of telling you the acidity of a compound, it will tell you the basicity of that compound, so how basic it is. So now right here we have a common pH scale, and the numbers indicate the pH value, and down here there are some common examples for those pH values. To understand a pH scale, you want to understand what each value is telling you. So first of all, a neutral pH is a pH of 7, as we have right here. So anything below or above the value of 7 is considered either acidic or basic. So anything below 7 is acidic, and anything above 7 is basic. And as I mentioned before, the lower the pH, the stronger the acid. So as we go down the value of 7 and we reach values like 1, 2, or 3, those represent strong acids. Whereas values of 6 or 5 and even 4 could represent weak acids. And the same thing applies for the bases. As we go up from 7 and we reach values like 14 and 13, those represent strong bases. But values that are closer to 7, like is 8, 9, 10, are weaker bases. And as you can see in the examples, things like battery acid and gastric acid are very acidic, and things like bleach, soapy water, drain cleaner are very basic. And finally, pure water is simply considered neutral. And one more thing before we go to the formulas is that pH can be negative. So if you have a very acidic compound, like very concentrated hydrochloric acid, the value could be that the pH is equal to -1. So don't be worried if you see something like that. And now let's find out how to calculate the pH and the pOH of a compound. So right here, there are three formulas that you need to know to be able to effectively calculate these values. So the pH is equal to the negative log base 10 of the concentration of hydrogen ions, and the pOH is the negative log of base 10 of the concentration of hydroxide ions. And then if you want to relate them, so you want to relate the pH to the pOH, you use the formula that says that pH plus pOH is equal to 14. This formula is useful in that sometimes you might be given the pOH of a compound, but you want the pH. So let's say that the pOH of the compound is something like 9, but you want to understand, you want to know what the pH of that same compound is. So then all you need to do is subtract 14 minus the pOH, and you get that the pH is equal to 5. And from this, now you understand that you're working with a weak acid. And now, as we saw with pKa, a trick to remember the formula pH is equal to the negative log base 10 of the hydrogen ion concentrations is to associate the P with the negative log base 10 of something, let's say x. So this would indicate the px. So let's say you want to remember the formula of pOH. So all you have to do is say that x is equal to OH, and then you plug it into that. So the pOH is equal to the negative log base 10 of the concentration of OH minus. So that will be exactly like the case of the pKa. You want to find the pKa of something, you just use pKa is equal to negative log base 10 of the Ka. And that's how you determine the pH too. And that wraps it up for this video. This was meant to be an overview of the definition of pH and pOH and just simply looking at how to calculate them, but I will make a more detailed video on the practice of using these three formulas. So as soon as that's up, I will link it and put it in the description. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it and found it useful. And if you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. And if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate asking us.